Hey y'all, today's Tuesday, the 1st of October, so I thought might as well do a video since it's the first day of the first month. And it's a Tuesday, so usually on Tuesday we do Titanium Tuesday or Damascus Tuesday. I'm doing Transient Tuesday, guys, because today is all about the HMC Transient. What I'm going to be doing today is going through it, showing you guys exactly what I have, and what makes this knife oh so special. So, welcome to Blade Boss EDC. Thank you for tuning in, and let's just get straight into it. The Transient is made by HMC Manufacturing, Jim Vandervelde over at HMC Manufacturing. It's a beautiful pouch, okay? He doesn't really send them in boxes. He sends them in these really nice felt-lined pouches. Let's go ahead and take a look at the COA. This one is titanium. It's a 3.2-inch subliner. It's Magna Cut titanium for the handle, titanium accents, which is now different because I had him. I'll explain it in a minute. And it was, I got this in March, so not even that long ago. Maybe like 6 months ago, maybe. But let's go ahead and take this puppy out and take a look at it, because it's sick, honestly. Alright, guys, here's what we're looking at. Let's see if I can get the light on this a little bit better so you can see this. This is the HMC Transient 3.2 subliner. My configuration, I have 5 speed holes, radial milling. I have 5 more speed holes, smaller in the back. You know, we can't do them the huge size like he does on the front because of the subliner. We have Damascus clip, black Damascus spacer, and collars. Okay? But what's really cool about this is when I bought this, it didn't have collars. It didn't have the fancy stuff to it, right? Jim did a little pre-order. It was short. It was short-lived. I don't even know how many people got in on it, but we were able to buy zirconium collars, Hellion pivots, zirconium clip-in spacer, Damascus clip-in spacer, and collars, and then he did some customization on my blackened titanium clip as well to match the new Hellion pivots. So when I first got this knife, it was micro milled. There was none of this radial. And the collars were not there, and it just had plain black pivots. A plain blackened titanium spacer and a plain black clip. That's what this looked like when I first got it. Now, after Jim doing the machining, you got the radial, which is just so tactile and it feels so good in hand. It's just like, how could you even lose grip of this, even in the worst of conditions? It's a very interesting knife. So the blade length is 3.2 inches. I think the overall length is 7.5. I'm almost positive it's the same size as the Lamia, and it is very close. So it's got to be either 7.5 or 7.6, maybe at the very most 7.75. The blade is acid. He calls it an apocalyptic stonewash, maybe, and it's really quite a nice finish on the blade. I mean, it really is. You have a window here for as your opening method. You also have a flipper tab here in the back that you can light switch and flip it open. The detent is very good on this knife in particular. It is centered. You can see that as clear as day. Spidey flick, thumb flick, front finger flip. You can front flip it, but it takes a lot because everything sits so flush. But the jimping is definitely like deep enough and get enough traction where you can pull it. See, I can almost do it, but it's tough. It's like a rosy. It chews up your thumb really bad if you do it. So, but what this knife is unreal. I mean, I know that the price right off the bat, like for a just a plain full titanium, is like, you know, if you know, you know. I'm not even going to talk about pricing on this channel, and that's because what's the point? If you're watching this, you're probably a niche collector like me anyway. So, made by Jim. You got blackened titanium hardware, titanium show side, blackened titanium pivots that say Hellion for HMC. You got that the black tie stuff, and then hold on one second. And then this stuff is all the other stuff, the other clips, the other spacers, the other collars, the other, you know, all that. You can see it kind of if you're looking at it. Like, you can see there's the blackened clip, and it's just so cool that I'm able to change it. If I want Zerk all one day, I can do Zerk. If I want one Zerk collar and one black tie collar, I can do that. If I want a titanium spacer, I can do that. If I want to put just the black and tie clip on, I can do that. It's so customizable, and it's all OEM by Jim. That's what makes it even specialer, because most of the time, I said specialer, that's not a word, but it makes it more special. Most of the time, you know, to get things like this where, you know, you got to get, you know, machining done, and you know, you got to send it out to guys like Ted Rooney and stuff. It keeps the pedigree of the knife when it's made and done by the OEM manufacturer, aka Jim. Again, this is manufactured in the United States in Erie, Pennsylvania. Jim is seriously an amazing guy. He is amazing. His work is awesome. He uses some of the best materials, and he can do a polished blade like no one's fucking business. If you have never looked up HMC manufacturing, I would highly recommend it. The Transient, in my opinion, is probably one of my favorite subliners. The action's fantastic. Everything's good. I mean, it is really not that big of a knife. Fits really nicely in hand. Lockup is solid. It's not going anywhere. It's about 60% of that entire lock bar. There's not much I can say bad about this knife. Let me think here. You have 3D milled or 3D contoured scales. You have a 3D contoured clip. You have speed holes on the front, speed holes on the back, radial milling, collars, custom pivots. Like, what could I possibly complain about? I'm just curious, does anybody have any complaints about the tranny? Like, I don't. I personally don't. It's been on point ever since I got it. It's been in my pocket. When it went back to Jim, it obviously got a spa and, you know, refinished and everything. So it's like brand new back in my pocket. I haven't been carrying it because I've been carrying my Ren. But like, for the price, I think it's absolutely worth it. Because of what it is, you know, an American-made, high-end, custom subliner. I know what it takes in designing knives. Okay, I started doing my own Fusion 360 practice because I plan on getting some stuff out into the world one day. I plan on buying a desktop CNC, all that jazz, and I started practicing Fusion. It takes hours of design to put this into Fusion. I don't care how like efficient you are, to design this in Fusion 360 and to actually machine it as a viable product, I have mad respect for all you makers out there, custom makers, hand makers, dudes, all the hand makers obviously, but the custom makers who are putting their designs down on CAD programs and then figuring out from there. I just have mad respect. I made one Lego brick in Fusion 360. So to see this blows me away. Okay. I'll get there, but just the respect, his machining is really unparalleled. Everything is done perfectly. There's no, it's just so good. And then the Zerblast on the scales, the Zerblast, oh no, that's the apocalyptic something, but the Zerblast on the scale is just really, really nice. It feels so good in hand. It's and what I really like about this is when you flip it open, even though it's got this flipper tab back here, it sits flush. Okay, you don't have that dick hanging out like you do with a Holt. And I'm not, okay, I call it a dick, but like it's not a dick, but like you get what I'm saying. Like that gets in the way. Like with this, I can choke up here or I can choke up here. It doesn't matter. Like I can even just do this, and then my hand sits on the jimping on the blade like crazy. It's hollow ground, okay? It's hand ground, hand finished, beautiful, you guys. I don't know what else to say about this knife other than if you really can get one and you haven't, and you're into subliners and you're into that 7-8 inch knife territory, this is a good knife to go on, because he also makes a 2.9 model that's even smaller, and then a micro model that's even smaller. So my final thoughts on the Transient 3.2 subliner by HMC Manufacturing is, for the value, for the price, the materials, and everything else that goes into it, totally worth it. Worth the money, worth the 5 or 6 different drops that I missed because they sell out within 10 seconds because he only sells 10 at a time. You know, I was lucky I got that drop point configuration, even though I was, Jim does amazing Tontos. But man, this thing is just absolutely beautiful. So for Tuesday, sticking with the T theme, we're going to do Titanium Transient Damascus Tuesday, because that's what this is. The triple T. Black tie, titanium, tranny. Okay? So guys, if you got it in your collection, great. If not, get one, man. If you're a niche collector like me, you gotta get a tranny into your collection. Okay? So, on the Blade Boss scale, to finish up, I would give this a solid... And it's funny because, like, I'm reviewing knives that I'm partial to. So most of the Blade Boss review scales are going to be 9, 9.5, 9.9, 10. I don't... After Jim did everything I wanted him to do, it became a 10. When I first got it, it was like an 8.5. I didn't have collars. I wanted collars. You know, it was tough. I had to work to get this knife because it wasn't just... I didn't get a book spot. It was a drop. So... luckily, I was able to get the speed holes because I really like those speed holes. So, anyway, yeah, gets a solid 10 with all the customization, with my ability to customize it however I want with high-end materials, with the price, and everything else. Totally worth it. Totally worth it. One of the best knives in my collection. One of my favorite feeling knives in my hand. It's substantial but not huge. The blade, its stock is really not even that thick. It comes down really, really nice and then thins out. He has this really nice sharpening choil there. And you can see that this thing is just comes down to a freaking laser beam. It's a slicer. Just like every other high-end knife that I review, it's a slicer. It's a beauty. And it's a forever knife. So if you can get your hands on one, guys, give it a whirl. Hit Jim over. hit him up on Facebook at HMC Knives Dungeon. Find him on Instagram under HMC Knives and HMC Manufacturing. It's worth it, guys. It's worth it. I'll link his profile down in the comment section below. But yeah, with that said, the tranny getting a 10 on the Blade Boss scale because of what it is, and HMC just gets a 10 in general because Jim is just a fantastic guy. So I can't say enough good things about it, guys. If you can get one, get one. So with that said, the Blade Boss is signing off. You guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in a few.